The Chosen Season 5 episodes 1 and 2 are coming out in theaters on Thursday, March 27th, and we already know what's gonna happen. If you haven't done your Season 4 rewatch already, let me remind you what happened at the end, and then we can look at the content of episode 1 of the upcoming season. The final episode of Season 4 started with a flashback to David entering Jerusalem, with people greeting him with joyful cheers. The beginning scene signaled that the episode might end with Jesus' entry into Jerusalem, but they chose to leave that for the Season 5 intro. More on that later. We also saw the aftermath of the raising of Lazarus. While during his discussion with Pilate, Atticus seemed to entertain the possibility that Jesus might have brought Lazarus back to life, Pilate called it superstitious madness, suggesting how he's not really ready to understand the type of effect Jesus and his actions have started to have on the people of Jerusalem. In a later gathering with Herod, Herodias, Chusa, and Joanna, Pilate even proposed they kill Lazarus again, but Claudia's question made him laugh. Wouldn't Jesus bring him back to life again? Claudia became an essential character because of her dreams about Jesus and her inspiring scene with Joanna, which eventually made her leave Chusa and join the crowds getting ready to welcome Jesus into the city. That scene was beautiful, and that two women were feeling like props in the place of the man in their lives. But it was Claudia who said to Joanna, if only they could believe as much as the Jews coming into the city to celebrate Passover, they would be more than props. That's why Joanna took action and decided to do what's right. In Season 5, we'll see her fully joining Jesus' side, changing clothes and hanging out with the other ladies on the team. What did you think of that Claudia and Joanna scene? Let me know in the comments. Who could also forget this epic scene where Lazarus' sister Mary anointed Jesus' feet with a pretty expensive nard and wiped them with her hair in front of Shmuel and Yusuf. Even though Shmuel had come to see Jesus for an open-minded inquiry, he was pushed over the edge by what he saw. He wasn't expecting to see a Messiah who would be okay with a woman touching his feet, wasting so much money, and allowing her to address him as God. A similar reaction came from Judas, who believed all that money shouldn't have been wasted on an expensive nard. Ultimately, we saw Judas and Shmuel coming together, teasing us about their future partnership in Season 5. Say whatever you want about this scene, but I wanted Shmuel to be on the right side so bad. This scene especially broke me. What was your thought on this? Let me also touch on the final moments of episode 8 before delving into Season 5, episode 1. After Simon Z and Matthew found an unridden donkey for Jesus, all the disciples and Mother Mary gathered around him. During one of the most emotional scenes of the season, Jesus told his disciples that the time had come. He asked them whether they would come with him, and Peter was the one who replied, of course, since Jesus alone had the words of eternal life. Jesus, being moved by Peter's words, told his disciples, no matter what happens this week, no matter what you see or feel or think or do, I want you to know that in this world I loved you as my own, and I will love you till the end. Literal chills. I love those lines so much. So as Jesus started to ride the donkey, their journey toward Jerusalem began, which is where Season 5 will pick up, although we know The Chosen loves doing flashbacks as intros. Do you think there will be a flashback scene at the beginning of Season 5? Do tell me in the comments if you think there will be one. The trailer for Season 5 already shows that the triumphal entry into Jerusalem will be epic, with people cheering for Jesus and waving palm branches. I expect this scene to be a great opener, to be honest. According to Matthew 21, this is how things went down. A very large crowd spread their cloaks on the road, while others cut branches from the trees and spread them on the road. The crowds that went ahead of him and those that followed shouted, Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest heaven. It would be a great experience to watch this in theaters, that's for sure, but nothing should happen this easily. Of course, those in Sanhedrin will also see Jesus and how people adore him, which means they will be getting ready to make plans to deal with Jesus. We will even see a confrontation between religious leaders and Jesus as he enters the city. In fact, one of them even calls him out, saying, declaring yourself sovereign, Rome will descend on us all. One of the next plot lines should be about finding a house to stay in Jerusalem. The trailers and behind the scenes for season 5 show that Jesus and the disciples will be staying at a very wealthy person's house, but we don't know who that is. In Matthew 26, Jesus tells his disciples to go to a certain house and tell the man there he would be celebrating the Passover at his house. Some people think this house belongs to the father of Apostle Paul, who may have come from a wealthy background. So perhaps we may even be introduced to a young Paul, who knows? What do you say about that? Let me know in the comments. Finally, there's also the possibility of seeing the cleansing of the temple in the first episode, but I doubt they would include too much in the opener of the season. But I think episode 2 could work. After settling down in the house, Jesus goes to see the temple grounds and observes the money changers and merchants there. And then he goes back home to make his own whip, then returns the next day to do what he does. I cannot wait for this scene. I hope it happens in episode 1 or 2. What are your expectations for season 5, episode 1? If you haven't checked out my trailer breakdown yet, click on this video.